In the world of rock and roll, things change all the time. Case in point, well, it was just days after I sat down with Geezer Butler, Tony Iommi, and Ronnie James Dio to talk about their historic reunion under the name Heaven and Hell with original Black Sabbath drummer Bill Ward. Yes, the same exact lineup that recorded that historic album, Heaven and Hell. That it was announced that Bill had amicably parted ways with Heaven and Hell due to prior commitments. So during this 1 hour Hangin' With, you will hear me reference Bill Ward as part of Heaven and Hell, but the drum seat will be occupied by Vinny Appice.
I mean, it's a whole different thing for me. The Sabbath is our, it's like a family, you know. We can go on and do shows like now and really do enjoy them.
I used to play rhythm guitar in my previous band, and I just wouldn't even play guitar when I heard Tony. And so I switched to bass, and I just made myself sort of have to come up to his kind of standard on bass, and he's just really inspired me that way.
The album Heaven and Hell will always be my favorite album, favorite to make, favorite musically, and just because of the period of time that it was just so fulfilling, and I'm just sad that it ended when it did at that time. Not sad anymore.
The world is full of kings and queens who blind your eyes and steal your dreams. A truly legendary lyric from a truly legendary album and song. Of course, I'm talking about Black Sabbath's Heaven and Hell. As a matter of fact, that lyric meant so much to me as a kid that I actually put it under my high school yearbook picture. And now I have the incredible opportunity to come here to the historic Wroxall Abbey Estate just outside of Birmingham, England, to hang with three of the four guys who are part of this reunion: Ronnie James Dio, Tony Iommi, Geezer Butler, which is called Heaven and Hell. Well, the three gentlemen sitting here I've had the opportunity to hang with in the past, and it's always been a great pleasure. And this time around, it's my first time speaking to them as a unit. I'm talking, of course, about Geezer Butler. Geezer, pleasure to see you. How are you? Good. Ronnie James Dio.
Edward.
Good to see you. Ronnie was nice enough to buy us and the crew some pints in our stay here at the hotel, so appreciate that.
Quite a pleasure.
Tony Iommi.
Eddie.
Nice to see you, Tony. Thank you for making the time to talk to us about Heaven and Hell, as this lineup of the band is now being called. Many of you guys also, of course, know it as Black Sabbath with Ronnie James Dio, which is the title of an anthology CD that'll be coming out, or in fact may very well be out right now. And it features all the material that, or not all of, but some of the material recorded during this lineup of the band with Ronnie James Dio. And I guess the first obvious question, Ronnie, is how did this all come together?
From the concept of doing the anthology, we wanted to do something a bit more special, a la a few tunes that have never been written before, never been heard before. So just with getting together with Tony to attempt that first stage of that writing, I think we realized how much we enjoyed working with each other. And probably, we seem to get together every 12 years. It's some kind of a locust factor that we have going on. I don't know what it is. So, you know, if we're still going 12 years from now, we'll be doing another one, and we can talk about that one. But again, from its inception, it was fun to do, and I think we enjoyed working together the way we always had before. And now we're in the midst of recording these things, or they could be out right now. Right, one of the two. But that's the way it started, really.
When did the idea, going back even further then, for a box set of the music that Ronnie made with the band, or I'm sorry, not a box set, but an anthology, when did that idea first come to be? Is it something that the record label brought to you, Tony, or how did that come about? Or did you approach them about it?
I think it was come from various people, you know. We get a lot of fan letters asking why don't we do a box set. And my manager approached me and said, why don't we do one? And we talked to Ronnie and Geezer and whatnot, and do one. But I don't know where the original thing first came from, but it was something we wanted to do. We really wanted to do that because that period needs to be out there. It really does. We've got some great songs, and you know we're really proud of what we've done on with that lineup. So I think it's, you know, it's great to have an anthology album out.
Well, we've talked about this in the past, both on camera and off camera, but there is a great sense of appreciation and respect for the lineup and the music that you made with Ronnie.
Absolutely.
How much of that played into this, Geezer, for you to want to reunite this lineup of the band?
Well, as Tony says, you know, we've been getting lots of emails and stuff like that on our various websites, asking if we'd ever contemplate getting together as that lineup again and going out. And it's just like the demand was just like incredible. I mean, I just thought, you know, it'd be great if it could happen. On the last Ozfest that me and Tony were on, we were talking about it, you know, it'd be nice to get that back together again. And it's happened.
This historic reunion of this lineup of Black Sabbath was such a big event for us at VH1 Classic that it took all of 2 seconds for us to decide to get on a plane and come here to this truly amazing setting, the Wroxall Abbey Estate just outside of Birmingham, England, to talk with Heaven and Hell about Black Sabbath, the Dio years. The set includes music from the albums that Ronnie James Dio recorded as a member of Black Sabbath, and it also includes 2 brand new songs written by Ronnie and Tony. Where else but right here in Birmingham, England, at this truly amazing place, the Wroxall Abbey Estate, can we cover the reunion of Black Sabbath with Ronnie James Dio? I mean, after all, Birmingham is pretty much where heavy metal music was born and the original lineup of Black Sabbath first came together. And it was actually Ronnie James Dio's recommendation that we do this interview right here at this amazing, amazing place to capture the reunion, now under the name of Heaven and Hell. I want to ask you guys about the name, because it's many people are still saying it's Black Sabbath with Dio again, but you're going out under the name of Heaven and Hell. Tell me about that and why that is. Tony's looking at Geezer. You want to take it, Geezer?
Well, I think because we've done, you know, we've got back together with Ozzy and that taken sort of, you know, re-established that version of Black Sabbath and getting in the Hall of Fame and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And it just have been weird after all that to go back and, you know, as yet another version of Black Sabbath. Mm-hmm. I think the people that want to come and see us know
exactly.
We can call ourselves anything, you know, they'll know who it is.
They have established their return with Ozzy and what they created, and so I think we just chose not to have to go that route. You know, maybe it's easier just to leave what that was alone and let people make their own determination. So Heaven and Hell is a nice label for it. After all, it was the album that put this section of the then Black Sabbath together, and so it'll speak for itself.
And I think that way people will judge us on this work as well, rather than, you know, saying anything about relying on a name. They can judge us on the music rather than anything else.
The CD is called Black Sabbath, the Dio Years, and the tour, when you guys do live dates, and I want to touch on that in a minute, will be under the banner of Heaven and Hell. That's how it's being structured. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The album, I want to talk specifically about some of the albums that were made with Ronnie and the band, and of course, what better place to start than with Heaven and Hell. Were you aware at the time, I find it so fascinating that this album is so highly revered, because if you think about it, a lot of people would have written Black Sabbath off at that period of your career. Losing Ozzy and then making a record. And I find it an interesting parallel, because the same year Heaven and Hell came out, so did an album by AC/DC with a new lead singer, obviously for a different reason. And both of those albums, Back in Black and Heaven and Hell, are these, you know, these iconic and highly regarded albums. Did you at any time, when you were making it, what were your feelings, if you can take us back? Ronnie, you being the new guy in the band at the time, did you realize what you were recording in 1980 was going to be so special and talked about now 26 years later like this?
No, I never did. I don't deal with, I'm a very pragmatic person. I just deal with life as it comes to me and want to do the best that I can under the circumstances. And the circumstances were that we were starting on a new venture. It was, you know, a bit traumatic, I'm sure, for, you know, the guys in the band when Ozzy wasn't there anymore. After all, they played together for such a long period of time and created, you know, this form of music together. But I just enjoyed, for a start, you know, writing with Tony at the time. I enjoyed writing and playing with Geese. I loved doing the things with Bill. Bill's a very special person and a very special kind of percussionist, as he calls himself, not really a drummer, but it's very true. He's a very thoughtful kind of person. But I took it as it was. But what you don't understand, and what maybe a lot of people don't understand, is we had a hell of a lot of problems to do that album. I mean, we started it in LA and ended up in Miami doing it. Who knew what was going to happen? We were kind of outcasts at that particular point. We seemed to be men without a country, men without a label. We had a label, but men without a manager, and men without feet. We were men without hats. We were men without everything at that particular point. So I think the fact that we had to work so hard to overcome all of the problems that were laid in front of us made that album so much more pleasing to us, that we were able to go, see, check this out. But we didn't do it thinking that, wow, we've written the greatest songs on the face of the planet. We just happened to write what we felt, and what we felt happened to touch the vibrations of a generation of people at that time.
Anything you want to add, Tony?
I think, you know, believing in it, we knew we had, I knew we had something there really special. I really liked the songs we were doing. And it was a big change for us, you know, to come from what we were doing with Ozzy. And it was a different style of writing with Ronnie. It's a different way. And it was a real good challenge as well. And it really worked. And the songs were great. And it was a lot more scoping, certainly for me, to be able to play with solos and stuff. And the way Ronnie sings, it opened a new door into the side of the music we were writing.
How did it feel for you, Geezer, at the time when you were making Heaven and Hell? Were you worried that the music, you may have known that you were writing such quality material, but obviously Ronnie had a great reputation before coming to you guys, as well as Rainbow and Elf and everything he had done up to that point. But were you worried that maybe it wasn't going to get a fair chance just because it was Black Sabbath with a new single?
No, I don't think we even thought about it that way. I mean, I actually had a couple of months out at the time for personal reasons, and so I had a chance to step away from it. And when I came back, I couldn't believe what I was listening to. It's just, you know, incredible. Yeah. So I was seeing it as an outsider as well as being in on it.
Right.
And no, we didn't even think about, you know, the challenge of the post-Aussie thing or anything like that. We just liked the stuff that we were doing, and that's all we wanted to do.
One of the things I love so much about the record, and it's actually what attracted me to the record initially before I'd even heard it. I was a kid at a boardwalk, and I won the record, and I picked it off the wall because I loved the cover so much, and I thought it was such a cool cover. I didn't know what Black Sabbath was at that point. I just said, that's a cool cover, I'll take that one, and that's how it all started for me. Tell me a little bit about the album, the concept of the cover of Heaven and Hell, and the origination of that. Do you want to take it, Ronnie?
Yeah, it wasn't something that we had conceived, that we said we want someone to do three angels, you know, playing cards and smoking a cigarette. They presented us with three different looks. I only remember two of them. One was the one that, of course, is the Black Sabbath cover for Heaven and Hell. Another were I think, four bishops or something in a line of some kind.
I remember there's a Japanese one.
Yeah, there were three, weren't there? I don't remember, you know, what the other ones were. I only remember seeing this one and thinking to myself, wow, that's unbelievable. Because what says it better than Heaven and Hell? And you've got, you know, these angels doing bad things, as far as somebody is concerned. I thought they were great things myself. So I think we were all, you know, of a mind that, wow, this is really special. So it was just one of the things presented to us, and we all, of course, agreed that it was something we should use.
I'm VH1 Classics Eddie Trunk, and it truly is a treat for me to be here just outside of Birmingham, England, to talk about this reunion with three of the four guys that are part of it. Now, I got to tell you, the Ozzy era Black Sabbath I love very much, but the lineup and the albums and the music that they made with Dio on board is just as special. The great music these four musicians created can now be heard in a great new anthology called Black Sabbath, The Dio Years. featuring music from the 3 studio albums and 1 live album that Ronnie James Dio made as a member of Black Sabbath, plus 2 brand new tracks. Now, trust me, folks, I truly love the music that Black Sabbath made with Ozzy Osbourne. How could anybody argue with that original lineup? But I equally love the music that they made with Ronnie James Dio as a member of the band, and it really is a great treat for me to be here at this tremendous setting, the Roxall Abbey Estate in England, to talk to the guys about their reunion. Let's get back to more of Hangin' with Heaven and Hell. Moving forward from the Heaven and Hell album, the second album that you guys did together was, of course, Mob Rules, which, you know, it's funny, you talk a lot about Heaven and Hell as being the definitive record of this lineup, and I think a lot of people would agree that it is, but that's certainly no slight on Mob Rules. Mob Rules was a tremendous follow-up. Take us back, Tony, to that period, making the second album with Ronnie, now that he was fully entrenched in the band.
Well, we went into rehearsals like we'd always do and just jam around different ideas, and then we'd probably get together at one point and start honing them in a bit more. Until the song took shape, you know.
I think Mob Rules was on the Heaven and Hell tour, wasn't it? Because didn't we have to do it for that film?
Oh, the actual track.
The song, was on the film soundtrack.
Yeah, that's right.
And we were actually on tour.
Heavy Metal, right? The cartoon.
We were on tour doing on the Heaven and Hell tour, and that's when we went to John Lennon's house.
That's right.
Well, we can't leave that just hanging out there. What happened there? You went to John Lennon's. Did you record it at John Lennon's?
We did a gig in London, and this is like they wanted this song for Heavy Metal. We had a couple of days off, and I don't know how we ended up at John Lennon's house. But anyhow, we ended up there and just jammed it out, basically.
Yeah, and he got a little studio there, and we set the drums up in the hallway of the house, and it came out, and to be honest, I really liked the sound we had in there. It was a great raw sound, and we never used that. We never used that one on the album. That went onto the movie, but not onto the. I think it went on the movie, didn't it?
It did. We re-recorded the album because we wanted more cohesiveness, as we thought. You know, if it sounds, it would all be the same for that one.
It was a real raw sound, I thought. Yeah.
I think we went there because Martin Birch had just done someone there. He had done Whitesnake or something, and he suggested the place, and so he knew the lie of the land. It was our engineer and producer for those albums, and so we obviously trusted him, so we went there.
But that was great. I mean, we went snooping around all the different cupboards, and there's gold discs in there with John Lennon. Brilliant, really.
So that's interesting.
Where did you put yours?
It's a dome.
Tony nicked his Epiphone.
It's quite a thrill, really. It was great. And then we go around the gardens, and he got all these big statues in the gardens and big monsters and stuff. Really, a different experience.
It was. Yeah.
That's interesting. I did not. So there are 2 of the song Mob Rules. There are 2 different recordings of it. The one on the soundtrack to Heavy Metal is different than the one that's on the. Completely different recordings, and the one on the Heavy Metal soundtrack was recorded at John Lennon's house.
Yeah, but we used the beginning of the one we'd done at John Lennon's, the part before the Mob Rules comes in. We used that with Geese on bass and stuff. Yeah, E5 150. We used that. We done that at John Lennon's, and then we used that part with the other recording. If you know what I mean.
Yeah. Ronnie, I wanted to ask you this question earlier, and I didn't have the chance to, but when you were first approached to join a band like Black Sabbath, coming from Rainbow, what was your initial thoughts? Were there any reservations on your behalf? Did you jump in full? Did you want to talk to the guys a little bit about it first? What were your feelings?
Well, I needed to speak to everyone first. I mean, I think if you don't have some kind of rapport instantly, it would never work for me. I'm too much of a control freak most of the time anyway. I mean, I like to be in control of my own destiny, and therefore, speaking to the guys, I found out, especially I spoke to Tone first, and found out that we had similar likes and dislikes as far as the music that we wanted to make, and that Tony was very open to what I could contribute to it. So right away, that was pretty easy. But it happened differently than that for us, because I went to the house that the guys were rehearsing in for what was going to be, I believe, the 10th anniversary. They were going out to tour and to writing songs, and I went to the house that evening, and Ozzy wasn't there. I guess I wouldn't have been there had he been there anyway. And Geese and myself and Tone and Billy went into the rehearsal place that they had, and we actually wrote, kind of finished off Children of the Sea. So it was almost an instant audition for all of us, and it just worked. And I think, you know, again, Guy's had a lot of personal problems he had to deal with. He was gone after a few days, so Tony and I kind of carried on and found that we really did have a lot of the same attitudes and wanted to carry this farther. So it had to work personally first, and it did. It was just an instant personal thing with everyone. I mean, I liked them all so much.
When did Geezer and Tony, when did Ronnie first come on your radar? I imagine it was with Rainbow that you first had said that's a guy we'd like to work with. Was it that period?
I'd first heard him in Rainbow, and then I met him at the party, didn't we?
Yeah.
Don's, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
The first
Britt Eklund, wasn't it?
Britt Eklund, yeah.
You remember those things, right?
I'm a hard woman to forget.
Yeah.
In more ways than one.
Ronnie, for you, there's been a number of Black Sabbath compilations up to this point that did not include your music. Mm-hmm. Now you've got one that includes nothing but your music. I imagine that's got to feel good for you to know that the spotlight's being shined on that era of the band again.
Yes and no, I think. I mean, I don't want to demean what this is going to be, of course not. Otherwise, why are we doing this? I mean, if the purpose of it all at the end of the day is for everyone to go out and buy it, I guess, isn't it? But, you know, money has never been a problem for me. I don't mean that money hasn't been a problem to have it, but it's never been something that I'm worried about. I've always believed more in wanting to enjoy what I did. And doing this is a kind of a means to an end. I'm back enjoying what we had started before. Again, I'm very happy that I'm happy it's out there. It's nice to have your name in front of it, but it's not something that I ever thought about or longed for. It just happens to be something that's there. And again, it's the means to this end, which is most important, that we're going to be playing this music live again and doing, you know, 2 to 3 new tracks. There was a music video, I believe the first production type music video that Black Sabbath made with Ronnie James Dio as the singer from the Dehumanizer album for TV Crimes. And it's a video that we play on VH1 Classic quite a bit. What are your recollections of making that music video? Do you have any thoughts?
Been scared to death because it was right after the LA riots.
Yeah.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah.
That's when it was
I mean,
shot.
it was like, that's where we had to film it.
Tell you what, the hotel was empty though.
You guys have now reunited and spent a little bit of time. We should tell viewers that at the time we're doing this, it's still very much in the early stages of what's to come, and you're just kind of, take us through the process you're at now and where you are in the recording of 2 new songs. I'm told, Ronnie told me the other day there's actually 3, but probably 2 that will be on the CD, right? So get us up to speed on the here and now with what is now being called Heaven and Hell.
Well, we really all got together yesterday, so that's how new it is.
How about the writing of the material, though?
Oh, the writing of the material was we've done it over a period of 2 sessions. Ronnie came over, which was great, and then we just sat for a week and just threw ideas around and basically got a rough idea of what a song was. And then we've done 3 tracks, as you said, and I think they're really good. Yeah. We got a real selection. We got a slow one, we got a mid-tempo one, and a fast one. So.
And that basically,
what else do you want?
And that basically says all about the dynamic of Black Sabbath. I think that's one of the things that, whether it be the Ozzy material or the music that you made with Ronnie, that the band is known as the band that created heavy metal, more or less. But that's a little bit too broad of a statement in a way, or confining of a statement maybe, because there are so many dynamics to Black Sabbath music, especially what you've done with Ronnie, and I'm sure that's something you want to preserve with these new recordings, right?
Yeah, and I think when we write together, we go into the little bits and make sure that everything, you know, some nice changes and there's some real exciting parts in, and that we take care over studying the song, you know, instead of going, oh, that will do, you know. And we like to look at it and say, well, let's change this bit. Ronnie's good at that. He comes up, what about changing that part or do this bit? And it's a great way of doing it, I think. And then at the end of the day, you come up with a product that you're really proud of instead of going, oh, I wish we'd have done that, you know.
Well, I think, you know, there's a great example of, you know, we shouldn't try not to take Geezer's contribution, although his contribution is as a writer too, but his other contribution, I think, was very evident on the Heaven and Hell album that we did. Geez wasn't there when we first went to Florida or anything. We actually put a backing track down and someone else played bass on it. And then, thank God, Guy came back. And suddenly, this song became what Heaven and Hell is, thanks to Geezer. And that's what he does. You know, his stamp as a player and the thoughtfulness that he puts into it before he even commits to it is very, very, very important. So, I mean, I think I needed to say that because it's easy for Tony and I to talk, we said, we wrote this and we're wonderful, and, you know, but Geese gets so little acclaim for being, you know, A, as great as he is as a player, and B, as thoughtful as he is as a person about the things that he wants to put in there. And so that's what this is. Tony and I we sit around and we write things that work for Tone, work for me, and there's the basis of the song, and then we give it to Geese, and suddenly it becomes this other animal, and that's just so important, I think.
Well, it's like yesterday, you know, as soon as he plugged in,
you fired him.
It makes the...
You went trying to find that bass player the first time around, right? Heaven and Hell guy. Where is he?
Yeah, I'm only here to advertise on Pro.
Yeah.
No, as soon as he started playing yesterday, it's on. Well, it's that magic, you know. Yeah. It's just that combination. It's just great.
And we shouldn't, of course, slight the contributions as a writer that you made with Sabbath during the Ozzy years, for sure, as a lyricist and the things that you had done. And you also do some production work as well, right? Geese, that's something you're into also?
Only on my stuff.
Right.
I don't really get involved with anything else.
When I joined the band, Geese came up to me and I said, well, I kind of write lyrics. And he went, thank God for that. Thank God for that. Well, I hate writing lyrics.
Was that a necessary evil for you during the Ozzy years?
Well, there'd never been any lyrics otherwise.
He did. I mean, talking for him, he actually got thrown in the deep end, and he really did come up with some great stuff.
Absolutely.
And,
it's good when when you think of a subject. It's the hardest part of it.
It is, yeah.
Think of what you're going to write it about, and it's just hard to keep coming up with different things all the time.
And then, of course, he wanted to play. So he wanted to concentrate on what he was playing.
Right.
But he was lumbered with the lyrics as well. So, and quite often or not, it was in the studio while we're recording it. Yeah. He's still writing lyrics, and then Ozzy go, "What's this bit here? What's that mean?"
You guys are recording the new material that you're doing together right now, just down the street at Tony's house, actually. That's got to be a good comfort zone to work in your house, I would imagine, Tony. And
great for me.
It's good.
Ronnie's got to fly from Los Angeles. Not so good for him. but to have this...
There's some great studios in LA, you know. And they're very close to mine.
Hey, I'll be in LA tomorrow.
Oh, I didn't know that. Ralph?
But you're going to be you're going to be recording this music. You're just at the early stages of getting sounds at this point right now. And Tony, you were telling me earlier it's important to you that the new music is going to be self-produced, and that you are very much looking forward to trying to capture as much of it live in the studio as possible, right?
Yeah, I mean that's what we're doing at the moment. Once Bill's got his drum sound and whatnot, we'll go in and try and hammer that, you know. And I think it's good the way we're doing it, because there's no big producer in there that's telling you what you've got to sound like, and we're getting our sounds that we know how to do and coming out with what we want to do, really.
Mm-hmm. Well, when I first heard them, when Tony sent me the MP3s, I just thought, perfect stuff, because it goes exactly what you expect from, you know, the Heaven and Hell era Sabbath kind of thing. Mm-hmm. It's like we're not trying to go modern or trying to, you know, techno or whatever.
Thank goodness.
It's just really...
Because we didn't play them that
really good.
Well, let's not.
You weren't there the day they brought the rappers in to do the backing tracks, Geezer. Live shows. Probably most of the people watching, that's probably what they're just dying to know about. What can you share with us at this early stage about what to expect as far as the live situation? How much touring do you want to do? Will there definitely be live shows? I imagine that's going to be a big part of this, right?
I bloody hope so.
Yeah, well, all that's going on now, you know, it's all been put together now. We can't tell you exactly where we are because we don't know ourselves yet.
Right.
This is a great touring band, and you know we love to get out and play. That's what we're all about, is to get out and play live. And it's a great band, and I think we're good live.
Well, I know the fans are extremely excited and cannot wait, and I'm one of them. So I look forward to the live dates, and of course the CD Black Sabbath, the Dio Years, a great anthology that will include some of the new material we discussed, and of course material from the 3 previous studio albums with Ronnie James Dio as a member of Black Sabbath. And remember, if you go to the live show, it's under the banner of Heaven and Hell. We should let people know that that is what it will be billed as. So, guys, it's been an honor. Thank you so much.
Edward.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you,
Ronnie,
Thanks,
thank you.
Thanks, Eddie.
Tony, pleasure. Thank you so much. Heaven and Hell. I want to thank all the fine folks here at the Roxall Abbey Estate, which truly has been a tremendous setting for us to cover this reunion. And I want to thank all our great crew here in England as well. Hope you guys enjoy this great reunion of this really legendary band, and pick up a copy of Black Sabbath, the Dio Years, and get caught up on all the great music that Ronnie made as a member of the group. Thanks so much for watching.
I wanted to write as dark and heavy as I could, and what better vehicle than Black Sabbath? I mean, it was wonderful. So that, coupled with the fact that I liked them so much, and that I wanted the band to succeed because I felt they really deserved to be back where they were. They invented heavy metal music, you know, with Ozzy, of course. I'm not taking anything away from Ozzy, and he was so much a part of that, and of course is again. But my time was special with Sabbath.
I think we're more enthusiastic than we ever been, the older we've got. And we really enjoy being in a band together with each other.
I don't think any musical instrument can ever be mastered. There's always something more to learn on it, and I like to push myself and always try and, you know, even if it never becomes part of any song or I never play it publicly, I like to know that I can do it myself.